Okay, so this is something a little different. So we leave today at about 4:15 when the kids are here to go take care of a situation. My daughter's glasses broke today and we have warranty on them, so we wanted to go get that taken care of. We didn't get back home till around 6. Well, where we live, the road that runs beside our house between us and the church is pretty much a dead-end road. So I know everybody pretty much that goes down there or the people from the church that will come around. Well, when I pulled in, where we would park one of our cars normally, which was gone because my husband's at work, there was a car that I didn't know with out of state license plate with like luggage and all kinds of crap just piled at the ceiling in the back of this car in the back seat. So I drive by first, not stopping because I'm like, what the hell's going on? I realize the car's running, the lights are on. And I look, and the woman's slumped over in her seat. So I whip the car around, and I pull in. And at first, I was going to go try to wake her up. When I walked up on and realized when I got right to the window that she didn't move, I'm like, okay, either she's overdosed or there looked like something was hanging medical. So I didn't know if maybe she was a diabetic or something. So I kind of got nervous and I wanted to look through the house real quick just to make sure that nobody was in here with that going on. And I went back to the car, and I had the kids locked in the car and told my daughter if she heard anything just to call me because it's real quick in and out. And so when I sat in the car, I just called 911. And I said, look, there's this car with out-of-state license plates. This lady appears to be dead or overdosed. Her car's running and the lights are on. It's full of stuff. I don't know what's going on. And they said, ma'am, did you try to wake her up? Hell no, I didn't try to wake her up. There's so many people around here that are on pills and meth because we live in the middle of nowhere. I told them, I said, I have a concealed carry permit. I have a handgun on me. And if I startle her and she acts crazy, since it's just me and the two kids here, somebody's going to get hurt, and I don't want to hurt anybody. You know, people think that just because you carry a gun that, it's just all gun-ho about that. No, I don't ever. That is the last thing that I ever want to do. So I made sure that we were safe, and I waited for the cops to get here, and it was actually kind of funny. 3 cops came, very nice guys. They were beating on her windows. I couldn't get her awake at first, and they finally got her awake. They're about to bust her window out. They finally got her awake, but she wouldn't roll down the window. First, she gassed it with her car park. And they started laughing. And they're like, you're not going nowhere like that. And so they finally got her. They couldn't get her to roll down the window, but she opened the door and tried to get out with her seatbelt on. And I noticed when she was in the car, she had sores and scabs all over her face. And as soon as I opened the door, in her, door handle, there must have been a glass piece because they pulled it out on top. And I told my oldest, I said, she's either been smoking crack or meth or something. And then I had to explain to her, I've never done those things, but I've been around people who have. I'm not real sure about smoking meth, but I know people that have smoked crack. And, you get that high for a few minutes and then they start nodding out. Well, they find another glass piece. Then they start pulling bags of drugs out of her car. Then we look and they've got her phone in the back. My daughter noticed that. They're going through her phone. They're going through her tablet. They weren't letting her out of the car. One of the officers came over to me and I explained to him, why I wouldn't wake her up. And it was just me and the kids and I didn't want to hurt nobody. And he was like, well, I would hurt somebody over those two. And I said, trust me, honey, I would if I had to, but I don't want to. And she had a small dog, little Pomeranian. My kids, being the way they are, they wanted me to take the dog if the cops would let me. And at first, I was going to ask about it. But then I'm like, well, no, I don't want to do that because if she remembers this and remembers where she's at, because where we live it's hard to find. So if she's really from out of state, I don't know how she would find this area again unless it was just by mistake. I wouldn't want her coming back around here after her dog, and it probably needed vetting since, I'm not trying to judge, but since she has a drug problem, I'm going to assume that it needed to be vetted. And like I told my kids, it's just better off to let the animal control come get it, let the dog get checked out and treated medically if necessary, and then it'll be able to be adopted out. It's a Pomeranian. It's a cute little dog, and it seemed to be friendly. It was just a little barky when the cops were beating on the window. But it never tried to come out after him or anything. So it was obviously a pretty sweet dog. But the cop come over, and I explained to him why I went look her up, and he said, I don't blame you, and I would hurt somebody over these kids too. And he said, look, this is another case of meth. So why don't you guys get out of here and let us clean it up? I don't think he wanted the kids around in case things got a little crazy. Because I know that 911 put me through to rural metro just in case she was dead or overdosed. So we left and went and sat at a friend of mine's house down the road for a little bit until they got it cleaned up, because I knew that they'd have to call animal control over the dog. She was going to jail. Her car would have to be towed. But everybody, I mean, it's not funny, but it is, but it's not. And everybody's laughed and said, have you gotten rid of your meth head, your crackhead yet? So that's kind of the way we've been dealing with it. Because, I mean, it was a little scary situation. We live in an area where sometimes it can take up to an hour to get a cop response. And that's shots fired. So I didn't know how long it would take. So I was a little nervous. But they were super nice. And even though they knew I had a gun in the car, because I have a concealed carry permit, they never acted weird about it or anything. I mean, I didn't reach for nothing. I made sure that my hands stayed on my steering wheel, so I could speak to the officer. And I guess he knew if I have a concealed permit that I'm definitely a law-abiding citizen. So that was nothing to worry about. But yeah, we went and sat at my friend's house and let the kids get their minds off things. And me and my friend was talking about it, and it's just crazy. And she said it's not the first time she's seen something like this, but she said she's seen that car at my house while we were gone. And so from what we can figure out, she had been sitting there for at least an hour or more. I don't know how much of that was nodding out. I don't know if she was sitting there smoking. I pulled over to smoke thinking she'd be okay, or if she had been smoking and started nodding off, and instead of keep driving, she pulled over there thinking she'd just sleep it off. Whatever. I feel like we did our good deed. I normally don't like calling the cops, but it was one of those situations where I didn't want somebody to die. Even if it was her own fault, I don't want somebody to die. Some people think that all addicts should die, and I just don't feel the same way. And there's a lot of reasons why, and it's all very personal. Some of you all know, some of y'all don't, and I'm not going into that. It has nothing to do with me. It has a lot to do with some people that I love. But yeah, that was our evening. And I just felt like it was something that I needed to share with everybody, and it was more than what I wanted to put into a status. So yeah, we're good. And we did our good deed for the night. We got possible meth head, crackhead off the streets, at least for the night. And hopefully she sleeps it off, and hopefully she gets some help for her problems, because she looked rough. I would say she's probably not as old as I assumed she was, but I'm not going to ask. I'll probably look at the inmate 24-hour arrest a little bit later and see if I can find her. Not because I want to expose her, just because I'm curious on how close I was to her age. I'll be completely honest, I've never really dealt face-to-face with somebody that's had a super bad meth addiction, but she looked just like everything that I've seen, with the sores all over her face. And I thought a lot of that was just like, Mom, I'm going to go to bed. Hardcore usage, or just some issues that people had that was scary bullshit. Because, I have known people that use meth and they've gotten clean and they didn't have that issue, or if they did, it cleared up and they look their age. But, yeah, she was in a bad way. And I do feel bad for her, because a lot of times there are underlying conditions for addiction, and then some people just don't really have an underlying condition other than the fact that they just want to get high. And I get that too. I know a lot more about addiction than a lot of people probably know or understand, and there's reasons why. And again, it's not me, it's some people close to me that's dealt with it. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope you got something from this story. And let's just hope that this woman gets the help that she needs, because it was sad. Anyway, bye guys. Okay, you can stop recording anytime now. Oh, and thank you, Heather, for letting us come and sit and hang out with you.